Ladies and gentlemen, will you please rise?
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Pettit College of Law Commencement at Ohio Northern University. Today we honor the class of 2015 and celebrate the 130th year of the college. Our invocation will be given by Taylor Beatty, a member of the graduating class who completed her undergraduate degree from DePauw University and graduates today with honors, cum laude. I would ask that you please remain standing following the invocation for the singing of the national anthem. Holly Lynch, a member of the graduating class who earned her undergraduate degree from Belmont University, will lead us in singing the national anthem. I invite everyone to follow Holly's lead and lift your voices as well. First, however, Taylor will lead us in a prayer.
Thank you. Please bow your heads. My dearest Father, thank you for being here with us today as we celebrate the culmination of 3 years of hard work and academic excellence. Bless us as we enjoy fellowship, memories, and reflect on our wonderful time here at ONU Law. Fill us with your joy and your love, and remind us that you are the one who gives us the abilities that we now celebrate. You make all things possible. Thank you for the family and friends that you blessed us with in this life and with whom we share this special day. Thank you for the mentorship of the faculty at this wonderful school, and may you continue to guide them with your wisdom and your discernment as they shape students' futures in such a meaningful way. I ask specifically that you lay your hands of protection and blessings on each one of my classmates graduating today. Let your love shine through our lives in our words and in our actions as we dedicate ourselves to servant leadership in our communities around the United States and around the world. While we strive for justice, help us remember to be merciful. And above all else, guide us toward the right path, not the easy one. As we reflect on our achievements and receive our diplomas, help us to remember that the greatest honor of all is being your child. In the precious name of your Son, Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rendering their bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, Satan's last star-spangled banner wave o'er the land of the free and the
Please be seated, everyone. Thank you so much, Taylor and Holly. More than any other college event or program, the Law Commencement has both special and symbolic significance. We are here today to celebrate student success, applaud academic accomplishment, and confer upon our graduates the rights and responsibilities of attaining their professional degrees. Although our primary purpose is to pay tribute to the students who are graduating today, we also come together to recognize the collective efforts of so many: faculty, staff, parents, family, alumni, friends, and board members, all of whom played a vital role in our graduates' achievements. Ever since 1874, when the 11 members of the first graduating class received their degrees, the university community has gathered to celebrate and share in this time-honored campus tradition. Today, 72 members of the College of Law class of 2015 will soon be conferred with degrees and join more than 30,000 graduates of the entire university who have preceded them. As with past commencements, this one signifies both the fulfillment of Henry Solomon Luhr's vision for the school he founded in 1871 and the legacy of our faith-based history and long-standing affiliation with the United Methodist Church. I am confident that the graduating class of 2015 have the opportunity for a successful legal career because they have received an excellent education from an outstanding faculty. Our faculty members are dedicated to their multiple roles as teachers, scholars, and mentors, and provide extraordinary service to our students by challenging them and supporting them as well. Our administrative and support staff also serve our students in important ways. At this time, would the faculty, administrative, and support staff members please stand so that we can express our appreciation to your very, very important role. Please join me in expressing our appreciation to them. Thank you. It is now my pleasure to introduce the members of the platform party and to recognize others who play an important role in today's ceremony. As they are introduced, each will rise and remain standing, and I request that you hold your applause until all the introductions have been made. A few members of the platform party will be individually introduced later in the ceremony. To my right, Mrs. Melanie Huff, University Registrar. Dr. DeBeau Freed, President Emeritus. William A. Lola, Vice President of Enrollment Management. Dr. Adrian Thompson Bradshaw, Vice President for Student Affairs. Mr. William Ballard, Vice President for Financial Affairs. Dr. Catherine Albrecht, Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences. Dr. James Fenton, Dean of the College of Business Administration. Dr. Tom Keir, Associate Dean of the College of Pharmacy. Mr. Ken Block, Vice President for University Advancement. Dr. Brian Anderson, Assistant Director of the LLM program. And joining us later on the platform will be Dr. Albert Bayless, Professor Emeritus and Honorary Degree recipient. Dr. Brian Ward, Professor of Law and Associate Dean for Academic Affairs. Mr. Rick Bales, Dean of the College of Law. Dr. Francie Hakes, Commencement Speaker and Honorary Degree recipient. Dr. David Crego, Provost, Vice President for Academic Affairs. Taylor Catherman, Graduating Law Student and Student Speaker. Taylor Beatty, Graduating Law Student. Holly Lynch, Graduating Law Student. Adriana Braden, Graduating Law Student. Dr. Jonathan Smalley, Professor of Civil Engineer and Grand Marshal. Dr. John Lomax, Professor of History and Banner Bearer. Dr. Michael Ryder, Professor of Mechanical Engineering and University Marshal. And Dr. Howard Fenton, Director of the Center for Democratic Governance and Rule of Law and University Marshal. And Tina Adams, our interpreter. Please join me in recognizing these individuals. I am now pleased to ask Dean Bales to introduce our commencement speaker.
Francie Hakes, class of 1994, was inspired to attend law school by an article she read in college about a child who had been raped, but then the rapist went free because the child was not allowed to testify under then existing Georgia procedural rules. She decided that she wanted to go to law school to fix that. After graduating from Ohio Northern Law School, Francie worked for 16 years as a prosecutor, first at the state level and then at the federal level with the Department of Justice, all the while specializing in child exploitation and child porn cases. She spent the last 3 years at DOJ in Washington, D.C., reporting directly to the U.S. Attorney General on child exploitation, testifying in Congress, then drafting and implementing the first ever national strategy addressing child exploitation. Today, she is a consultant on child exploitation issues. She trains law enforcement, consults with private companies, represents victims, and serves as an expert in civil cases. When I spoke with her for the first time about a year and a half ago, Francie was proud to tell me, "I prosecuted a lot of child molesters, and they're all in jail because of the opportunity ONU gave me to learn a law degree." I was incredibly inspired by that conversation I had with her over the telephone, and knew then that I wanted to bring her back to share her story with all of you. Francie joins us today with her husband, Kevin Galke. Kevin? Kevin, like Francie, is a member of the ONU class of 1994. They met on their very first day of law school, on orientation day, over donuts in the law building, and they have been together ever since. Kevin followed Francie to Atlanta, practices workers' compensation defense for a law firm there, and describes himself as Francie's biggest cheerleader. Would you all please join me in giving a warm ONU welcome to Francis Hakes.
Good afternoon. I'm from the South. You have to answer back. Good afternoon. That's better. I'd like to thank Dean Bales for inviting me here to speak to you today, and to President DiBiasio for his generosity in welcoming me and Kevin back to ONU. Because we're in Atlanta, we haven't been back since we graduated 21 years ago, just about today. I am so honored to be here to speak to the graduates today. It is an exciting opportunity for me to talk about something that's very near and dear to my heart, and that is public service, and how important public service is, and what your law degree means, and what it can mean for this country, and really for the world, for people who need you and need your advocacy. 20 years ago, I sat right where you are, wondering whether I would ever fulfill my goal of public service, my goal of helping children win justice for the crimes against them. Dean Bales is right. I went to law school to become a prosecutor, and specifically to be a prosecutor against those who would harm children. I desperately wanted to put child abusers in jail. I spent more than 16 years as a prosecutor, and I saw to it that many child abusers went to jail. Some, I'm proud to say, are still there. Public service, and especially being a prosecutor seeking justice for victims, is surely the most rewarding career in law that you could choose, and I'd like to tell you why. I started my career as an assistant DA in a small town in Georgia. It took me 2 years to get that job. I didn't want to give up, but every prosecutor's office around Metro Atlanta said to me, "You have no experience. We want experienced prosecutors." And I kept saying, "How can I get experience if none of you will hire me?" That logic still didn't get me a job. It still took me 2 years and the recommendation of a family friend. But I finally got a job, my dream job, as an assistant DA in a little office about an hour and a half south of Atlanta. And because of the education I received at Ohio Northern, and some of the fantastic professors that I had, and the externship that I had in Lima at a prosecutor's office there, I was very confident. You might say I was brimming with confidence, probably overconfident. But 2 weeks after I started, I walked into the office of the chief assistant district attorney, and I said, "What is happening? I've been in this place for 14 days and I haven't seen the inside of a courtroom. I came here to prosecute people. I came here to put people in jail. Give me a trial. Don't give me these crappy shoplifting cases that are all pleading out. I want something real." He, who's very Southern, said, "Well, Francie, if you want to go to trial, I got a case for you." And he handed me a file. He said, "It's going to trial a week from today." Awesome, I can do this. I had an externship. I totally know what I'm doing. Let's see what this is. What is it, a theft case, maybe a drug case? I open it up. Oh, aggravated child molestation. No problem. I'm sure I understand the law on that as I run back to my office and find the statute. that prohibits child molestation so that I actually understood what I had to prove. That was a challenge. And I'll tell you, that first trial was a challenge. It was against a father who had been sexually abusing his daughter for more than a decade. She was 11 years old when we went to trial. Her name was Kimberly. Beautiful little red-haired child who came and sat in my office, looked me in the eyes, and said, "Will you help me?" And I told her that I would. I told her that I would get justice for her and that she didn't have to be afraid of her father ever again. And so then started a career where I felt a personal connection with every victim that I ever met and a personal responsibility to see that justice was done for them. That very first trial, one of the very first things I did was take out my pad of legal paper, which I used every day as a prosecutor and in every trial I ever had. And at the top of the page, and I'm hoping some of you recognize this, at the top of the page, I wrote jurisdiction, venue, date, time, and ID. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Anybody had Professor Waldick? Does he still do that? In my crim practice class, he did it, wrote that every day on the board, every single day. Do we have boards anymore? But he wrote it every day, jurisdiction, venue, date, time, and ID. And so I did not fail to prove those things in any criminal trial I ever had, thanks to Professor Waldick, drilling that into my head, and mostly because he said, these 4 things will be the first 4 questions on your exam. So we all knew them. But I learned them, and I lived them, and they served me well. 6 years after I began, I started applying for jobs at the United States Attorney's Office in Atlanta, and they turned me down. And they kept turning me down. And they turned me down 8 times. And you're now probably thinking to yourselves, well, do you not have a sense of humiliation? Apparently I do not. I was not willing to take no for an answer. I knew that I could do this job. I knew that I had the education and the training and the experience, the drive and the passion to be a federal prosecutor, and so I just kept going back. And I'm fairly confident they gave me the job out of pity in the end, or maybe they were just sick of seeing my name on the resume. But regardless, I started as a federal prosecutor, and I specialized in crimes against children, mostly in technology-facilitated crimes against children cases, like child pornography cases. During the 6 years I spent as an assistant district attorney, I used to think that the hardest thing I would ever have to do would be to look into the eyes of a child like Kimberly and have her tell me about the horrible abuse that she had suffered at the hands of her abuser. I used to think that was the hardest thing I'd ever have to do. Once I got to the U.S. Attorney's Office, I discovered that I would have to do something far more difficult, and that is to look at the actual abuse of children on film. Looking into the eyes of those children while they're being abused and videotaped or photographed is the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And you might think that the hardest part of it was looking at child abuse, and of course, it was horrendous, indescribably so. The worst part, though, was knowing that most of those children that I was looking at on my computer screen were unidentified. I would never be able to put them in a chair in my office and promise to find justice for them, because most of them were out of my jurisdiction. Some of them were across the world. And so what I did was all I could do, and that is prosecute to the fullest extent of my ability the people who were trafficking in their sexual abuse, trafficking in their horror, and trafficking in their shame and humiliation. The United States government gave me an incredible opportunity to work on so many different interesting cases, to seek justice for children, and to work on other cases like counterespionage and counterterrorism cases. I was able to go to the Department of Justice and spend months working in the secret intelligence court known as the FISA court, doing terrorism and counterespionage warrant work for the Department of Justice on behalf of the US government. The second opportunity I was given at the Department of Justice was really my favorite, and one of the hardest things in my career, and that was working on policy. After being in a courtroom for so long, it was very difficult to be out of the courtroom. But I knew that it was very important to have someone with my experience telling the policy leaders in the government what they should be doing protecting children. And I never hesitated because of my confidence in my education and my experience in telling the highest leaders that I spoke to what they should be doing to protect children. In December of 2009, I interviewed with the Attorney General of the United States. And it was a pretty intimidating experience to be sitting in the Attorney General's conference room under the portrait of Bobby Kennedy and waiting for the Attorney General to come in. It was just me and the Attorney General. And he came in and he introduced himself, and he was very nice. And he told me, because apparently unbeknownst to me, I already had the job when I came in for the interview, so I was nervous for nothing. He told me that he was going to demand that I be bold and aggressive. You see, my job was the first ever national coordinator for child exploitation prevention and interdiction, and the job was created by Congress in the Protect Our Children Act of 2008. So Congress mandated that the Department of Justice put a high-level official in place to coordinate all of the government's child exploitation fighting policy. That is, to overlook the FBI and the marshals, all the prosecutors' offices, all of the Internet Crimes Against Children task forces, to liaison with local, federal, state governments and international governments in how best to protect children. And so when the Attorney General of the United States told me to be bold and aggressive, I took him at his word. And I told him that I thought the Department of Justice was not doing enough to protect children. I hope he appreciated my honesty. It was all I knew how to be, was honest, to be an honest advocate for children. Public service was an exciting, demanding, and rewarding. It was more than I could have ever hoped for. There is absolutely nothing like trying a case in criminal court. Standing up Francie Hakes for the United States was a thrill that I never got over, and I never forgot the solemn responsibility of being a public prosecutor and the ethics that were demanded of me. Even if the other side wasn't ethical, I had to be ethical, and I took that very seriously. Trying a case in criminal court involves strategy, ethics, constitutional law, drama. Criminal trials have it all. But that was not the most proud moment of my life. None of that was. It was incredibly rewarding to work for the United States government. It was incredibly rewarding to brief the White House on child exploitation policy. When I got to testify before Congress, it was exciting, a fantastic opportunity. A little frightening, considering they knew far less than I had hoped they did about child exploitation and protecting children. But the proudest moment of my career came not in my interview with the Attorney General or any of those other times I got to speak in front of people of power. It came in a phone call I received just 3 weeks ago. I picked up my cell phone, I didn't recognize the number, and the voice on the other end of the line said, "Francie, it's Kimberly." It was Kimberly, the girl whose father I had prosecuted nearly 20 years ago. She's now 30 years old, getting ready to graduate with a degree in criminal justice from a local college. She said she called because she'd been following my career. She wanted to tell me that I saved her life. She wanted to tell me that because of me, she was graduating from college. That she had never forgotten the things that I told her in my office that day, and the fight that I waged to get her father convicted, and the things that I told her that she could do in her life. She had struggled. She had had a drug abuse problem, alcohol. She had a very difficult time growing up because of what had been done to her, but she had made it. And she said she had me to thank. I looked into her eyes almost 20 years ago, and I got justice for her. I might not have been able to find all of the children in whose eyes I looked over the last decade, but I made an impact I made an impact on Kimberly, and I hope I made an impact on a lot of other children. And that's all I could hope for in my career, to make an impact. When I sat where you sit 20 years ago, I hoped that I would make an impact. Kimberly says that I did. And that is what I hope for all of you. Go out and make an impact. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Francie. You have indeed made an impact. We appreciate the power of your words, the power of your work, very, very much. Thank you again. At this time, I'm very pleased to introduce Taylor Catherman, who will speak on behalf of the graduating class. Taylor graduates today with honors, summa cum laude, and ranks first in his class. He completed an undergraduate degree from Allegheny College and is from York, Pennsylvania. Taylor.
Good afternoon, faculty, staff, distinguished guests, family, friends, and my fellow ONU Law graduates. As President John F. Kennedy told us, to whom much is given, much is expected. Today, ONU Law graduates, we graduate with a degree that allows us to enter one of the most esteemed professions in our country. However, this privilege of practicing law comes with an equally great responsibility. It comes with the responsibility that we will use our knowledge and our skills not as voices of legal aggression and exploitation, but rather for the responsible and the ethical application of the law. It comes with the responsibility that we will use our knowledge not only for the advancement of our own lives, but also for the betterment of our greater society. As demonstrated by our daily news, it is a chaotic world that we live in today. Morning newspapers and nightly television are filled with stories from around the world that bewilder and at times even frighten us. We see stories about countries where authorities violently suppress political protests, countries where religious and ethnic factions resort to violence to settle their disputes, countries where organizations and political groups use violence, intimidation, and exploitation to gain submission over the very people that they are entrusted to protect. Sadly, it is not the history of the human experience to get along peacefully. It is a challenge for different peoples of different beliefs, cultures, ethnicities, and wealth to get along and live in peace. That is what our great American experiment, the rule of law, addresses. The just rule of law provides for the nonviolent, rational, and predictable resolution of the constant and inevitable human conflicts which exist in every society and in every age. In our country, the rule of law forms the bedrock of our society, providing the means for all people to resolve disputes and obtain justice. In our time, issues of access to and distribution of natural resources, ownership of property, the nature of family duties and obligations, enforcement of contracts, protection of you and of your property from others, freedom to worship, freedom to travel, freedom to live and work where and as you please, and protection from government and imprisonment and arrest are just a few of the benefits of the just rule of law and of our society's profound respect for its administration. On the surface, this rule of law in our country appears simple. Elected officials, people just like you and me, make the laws. Judges, people just like you and me, apply and interpret that law. Attorneys, just like you and me, assist the people in enjoying the benefits and the protections of the rule of law in their individual lives and businesses. But the rule of law in our society really only works if the vast majority of officials, judges, and attorneys are honest, ethical, conscientious, faithful, and dedicated to the just administration of that rule of law, because then and only then will the vast majority of people in our society respect and accept the rule of law as their means and their methods of resolving their problems and conflicts, thus resulting in our peaceful, productive, and hence successful society. If people in our society do not believe in the system, if they feel increasingly and permanently disenfranchised by it, the just rule of law in our society will easily vanish. And as history and current events demonstrate, people will seek other ways, usually violent and oppressive, to resolve their differences and their problems. While there are certainly flaws and improvements to be made to our legal system, our system has proven to be the best the world has ever seen. Nevertheless, it only works if those entrusted with its administration stay true to its mission, as it is an ongoing experiment. Today, ONU Law graduates, we join the ranks of those so entrusted. Through our careers, it is our turn to be the exceptional stewards of this incredible system. Today, let us commit to being faithful servants of the just rule of law in our society. Let us commit today to being worthy of our noble and chosen profession. Let us make our profession, our professors, our families, and our greater society proud of the ONU Law class of 2015. Fellow graduates, I wish you great success in your future endeavors, and once again, congratulations.
Thank you so much, Taylor, for those insightful words. We appreciate it very much. At this time, the university is very proud to confer 2 honorary degrees at our ceremony today. The first recipient is Francie Hakes, and I would ask Provost Crego, Dean Bales, and Francie Hakes to please join me for the conferral of the honorary degree. Francie Hakes, you are the defender of the defenseless, the voice of the voiceless, an advocate for our children. For more than 15 years, you served as a state and federal prosecutor, specializing in crimes against children and online child sexual exploitation. Thanks to your efforts, an untold number of abusers are behind bars and children are safer. You took this critical issue to the highest levels of our national government. For 2 years, you served as the nation's first national coordinator for child exploitation prevention and interdiction, a post appointed by the U.S. Attorney General. You created our first national strategy addressing child exploitation, which was submitted to Congress in 2010. You testified in front of Congress, briefed senior members of the White House, and ultimately led the fight against child exploitation at the United States Department of Justice. Thanks to your efforts, this fight is no longer a local issue, where it is often out of sight and out of mind, but a national priority. You were called to study law in pursuit of a life of service to others, and your professional career provides an example to all of us how such a calling can make a profound difference in the lives of others. We at Ohio Northern University are proud to count you as an alumna. Therefore, upon the recommendation of the Ohio Northern University faculty and by the authority vested in me from the state of Ohio and the university's Board of Trustees, I am delighted to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa with all of the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations. Provost Crego, Dean Bales, and Professor Emeritus Albert Bayless will join me for the conferral of the honorary degree. Albert Bayless, in the Second World War, you served our country with honor in North Africa, Italy, France, and Germany. The destruction and chaos you witnessed firsthand reinforced your desire to become an attorney so as to help bring order and justice to the world. You returned to your native Cleveland, where you earned your bachelor's and law degrees from Case Western Reserve University. You finished your legal studies as one of the top students in your class and were inducted into the Order of the Coif. You practiced law with the state government, the legal department of the New York Central Railroad, and with a private firm before you began law teaching. You joined the law faculty of Ohio Northern University in 1957 and were promoted to professor of law in 1962. Along the way, you earned a master's of laws from New York University. During your 35-year career at Ohio Northern, you treated all of your students with respect and encouragement. You were the very picture of classroom excellence, cleverly analyzing and explaining evolving legal principles with a sincere, friendly disposition. They called you Old Sweet and Lovable and Agile Al. Students quickly became familiar with your love of Cleveland sports teams, as well as your mythical friends, Rodney and Rowena. They also gained immense respect for you and the way that you loved learning the law. In the community, you served as a county court judge and were twice recognized by the Ohio Supreme Court for excellence in judicial office. You served as president of the League of Ohio Law Schools, president of the Ada Kiwanis Club, and in leadership positions with the Ohio Bar Association. You led numerous university and law school committees. You were the first holder of the Fisher Chair in Law in 1984 and were awarded the university's Faculty Award in 1982. During a difficult and challenging period from 1975 to 1977, you also served as acting dean of the College of Law. Therefore, upon the recommendation of the Ohio Northern University faculty and by the authority vested in me from the state of Ohio and the university's Board of Trustees, I am delighted to confer upon you the degree Doctor of Laws honoris causa with all of the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations. Dean Bales will now provide comments to the graduating class and explain the symbolic significance of the academic hood.
Thank you, President DiBiasio. The commencement process for the College of Law includes a distinctive hooding ceremony. We present academic hoods at commencement because the hood bears important symbolic meaning. In the Middle Ages, the hood kept scholars warm in drafty universities. Today, fortunately, our university is heated, and the hood signifies the level of the degree, the academic discipline in which the degree was earned, and the institution that awarded the degree. The academic level of the degree is shown by the length of the hood, 4 feet for the doctor's hood, You get the longest, which also has the widest velvet trim. The color of the trim identifies the academic discipline, the royal purple for law. The hood is lined with the colors of the institution awarding the degree, thus the orange. The ONU Law Class of 2015 is different from any law class that I've ever seen anywhere. More than any other class that I've seen, your graduation class today represents not the individual accomplishments of each of you, but the collective accomplishments of all of you. I couldn't put it possibly any better than these words from Holly Lynch. Law school is competitive, but that never stopped us from helping one another. I remember many times when groups of us would be in the library after midnight, the night before a final. We helped each other freely, asking questions to one another and teaching each other. I can vividly, throughout my 3 years, remember Nate Heiser, Chad Fritz, Justin Delecky, and Dan Fetter dropping whatever they were doing to take time to discuss a confusing topic. Each time my fellow students taught a concept to me, they went to great lengths to ensure that I understood what they were teaching me, and in return, I did the same for them. So at the library, late at night before finals, when most people would be holding onto their information, hoping that maybe the person who has a question will fall below the curve, the students who I had the pleasure of being around were selfless and viewed the success of their classmates as their own. That is the difference at ONU, and that is what has made these past 3 years great. And I could easily cite dozens of other examples, such as Bryce Winslow's kind offer to give me a tour of the law building when the entering first year showed up on campus 2 years ago. Or more recently, when Kelly Mumaw, Sully Munkemeyer, and Chelsea Ballou took it on themselves to hand wash the dishes after this year's symposium. The importance of belonging, of working toward a collective greater good, doesn't end in law school. A study that just came out Wednesday of this week examined several thousand lawyers, and it found that factors such as earnings, partnerships at a major law firm, class rank, U.S. News and World Report law school rankings, those things showed absolutely no effect on lawyer well-being. Attorneys in law firm and large firms and other prestigious positions were not as happy as public service attorneys, despite far better pay. And junior partners in law firms were no happier than senior associates in the same law firm, despite more pay and greater prestige. As you have already learned, what really makes people happy is helping others. This room is filled with people who have lived that lesson. Al Bayless, who not only spent the better part of his life being the favorite professor of 2 generations of ONU law alumni, but served our country, as you just heard, in World War II in ways that are unimaginable to me today. Francie Hakes, whose dedication to fighting child exploitation and child porn has saved thousands of children from the worst kinds of abuses. The faculty in this room today, who put your education and the interest of this university first. The LLM students graduating today, who after spending a year studying democratic governments and rule of law will return to their home countries. There they will work in public service positions, in government, in NGOs, to make their countries a better place, from Georgia to Zimbabwe, from Afghanistan to Sri Lanka. And the many staff members who have organized this commencement, set up the chairs, swept the floors, set out the food, and made it all look easy, even though it wasn't. During your time here at ONU, you have gained the knowledge and the experience and a law degree that empower you to change the lives of others in a way that very few in our society have the ability to do. My charge to you is to remember what you've learned here as you make this world a better place, one person, one Kimberly at a time.
Thank you so much, Dean Bales. We will now present hoods, confer degrees, and award diplomas to the graduating class. Please note that students graduating with honors are so designated in the commencement program, and that the level of honor earned will be stated as names are announced. Provost Crego, will you please commence the conferring of the academic degrees?
President DiBiasio, I have the honor to ask Professor Brian Anderson to present the candidates for the Master of Laws degree.
Will the candidates for the Master of Laws please stand? President DiBiasio, as Assistant Director of the LLM program of the Pettit College of Law of Ohio Northern University, it is a privilege to present these candidates for the degree of Master of Laws.
Thank you, Professor Anderson. Upon the approval of the faculty and by the authority vested in me from the state of Ohio and the university's Board of Trustees, I am pleased to confer upon each of you the degree of Masters of Laws with all of the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations, graduates.
Marwan Ahmed Al-Harbi. Mohammed Suleiman Alisa. Chelsea Elizabeth Ballou. Rebecca Barish. Adriana Christine Braden. Asadullah Farzan. Kanyo Bai Gabala. Marika Denise Sita Johnson. Nino Kajaya. Abdul Noman Maidi. Abdullah Dastagir Popolzai. Nishandeni Ratnam. Runyararo Gladys Sandarai. Samuel Tadesse Tesfaye. Sunbong Zulfikar Virk.
President DiBiasio, I have the honor of calling Dr. Brian Ward to the podium for the privilege of presenting the candidates for the Juris Doctor.
Will the candidates for the Juris Doctor please stand? President DiBiasio, as Associate Dean of the Pettit College of Law of Ohio Northern University, it's a privilege to present these candidates for the degree of Juris Doctor.
Thank you, Dr. Ward. Upon the approval of the faculty and by the authority vested in me from the state of Ohio and the university's Board of Trustees, I am pleased to confer upon each of you the degree Juris Doctorate, with all of the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations.
The Ohio Northern University Recognition Medal recognizes outstanding academic achievement. A medal and a certificate are presented to each of the highest-ranking graduates in each college who have completed at least 90 graded hours at Ohio Northern and are present at commencement. It is my privilege to indicate that an Ohio Northern Recognition Medal and certificate will now be presented to Taylor Catherman, summa cum laude, as the highest-ranking graduate in the College of Law. David George Albertson. Mohammed H. Aziz. Carl Darren Beard. Taylor Ashton Beatty, cum laude. Coleman Scott Beckley. Chelsea Elizabeth Ballou, cum laude. Rebecca Barish. Alexander S. Banya. Adriana Christine Braden. Karen Bryant. Shaniqua Latisse Faye Crawford. Corey Ann Damulus. Justin David Delecki, cum laude. Christopher Leopold Doran. Petra Danielle Elert. Daniel J. Fetter, cum laude. Patrick David Flesher. Dwayne Fortner. Christopher James Frank. Chad Raymond Fritz. Wesley Allen Garrett, cum laude. Erin Elizabeth Gimple. Nicholas R. Goodwin. Alicia M. Grosso. William Kyle Gross. Carl Christian Hazlett, magna cum laude. Nathan Richard Heiser, cum laude. John Higgins, cum laude. Marika Denise Sita Johnson. Matthew Allen Kearney. Brandon Alexander Kennedy, magna cum laude. Heather Sue Hooker. Dania Yarvita Lofton. Jamie Lee Lutz. Holly Christine Lynch. Melissa Andrea McCallum. Carrie L. McClure, magna cum laude. Justin Patrick McCombs. Salvatore Peter Messina. Chad Edgar Myers. Vincent Alexander Miller, cum laude. Sally Ann Munkemeyer. Kelly Ann Mumaw, cum laude. Corey Michael Nolan. Mark Matthew Noland. Ryan Pete Phillips. Adam Richard Quigley. Amanda Maureen Reiner. Leon G. Rendiero, Jr. Tara E. Reynolds. Richard Andrew Robertson. Alexander James Roney, cum laude. Courtney L. Staton, magna cum laude. Erin Michelle Studer. Chad Eric Travers. Sumbo Zulfikar Virk. Christopher Rosser Wallach. Laura Elizabeth Waymeyer, magna cum laude. Jennifer J. Williamson. Bryce Andrew Winslow. Amy Christine Wright.
To the members of the graduating class, I join with everyone here to acknowledge your accomplishments and recognize all that you have done to reach today's milestone. You graduate at a time of great challenge in our nation and throughout the world, and we are counting on you to make a positive difference in your profession and in your communities. Today, you make us incredibly proud for what you have accomplished here. You make your families proud as well, and most of all, you make yourselves proud. Will all the members of the graduating class please stand? Ladies and gentlemen, I present the Pettit College of Law Class of 2015. Congratulations, best of luck, and Godspeed. While we certainly honor our graduates today, we also want to recognize the love and support provided by their parents, grandparents, wives, husbands, and other family members. Will the family members of all the graduating students please stand so we can recognize you as well? Please. Thank you. And we would also like to thank Dr. Charles Bates and our student musicians for today's musical selections. Thank you very much. A musical benediction will be given by Holly Lynch, followed by a spoken benediction by Adriana Braden. Adriana is a member of the graduating class who completed her undergraduate degree at The Ohio State University. First, Holly.
God be with you till we meet again. By His counsel, by uphold you. With His sheep securely fold you. God be with you till we meet again. Till we meet, at Jesus' feet. Till we meet, God be with you till we meet again.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for your mercy and your grace. Thank you for this day of celebration with the ones that we love, and thank you for surrounding us this day and every day. Lord, we come to you today humble and with the utmost thanks for the gifts that have been bestowed upon us. We thank you for the discipline and the perseverance to bring us this far in our journey in the service of others. We thank you for those that you have placed in our lives during this time of growth and change, and ask for your continued blessings as we transition from student to professional. We do not take the call to pursue justice lightly, and we know that this duty is not for the weak, timid, or the faint of heart. As we go forth in our careers, we ask that you continue to arm us with the intellect, skill, and power to do justice for humanity as you have so graciously called upon us to do this work. We are so grateful for the professors, faculty, and staff at ONU who have personally invested their time and resources in us, and who have shared with us in our success and challenged us to reach further during our time of failure. We thank you for the friendships that have been forged in the midst of this collective battle in the pursuit of higher knowledge. Please, Father, bless those who have traveled with us on this journey. Bless our mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, and children who have cried with us, prayed with us, and consoled us in our times of doubt, as they are the ones who have truly carried us to this finish line. We ask that you place one hand on our shoulder to guide our steps, and one hand over our mouths so that we are careful to speak kind words as to honor you always. We know, Father, that you have great plans for our lives and that you will never leave us. We will not fear or be dismayed at the journey ahead because we know that you are the all-seeing and all-knowing. May we experience in abundance the grace, peace, love, and joy of you in all our works. Amen.